Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. And, man, bless you for checking out the channel because the Heat, they lose tonight 124 to 117 to the Philadelphia 76ers. Good game. Miami had a valiant effort to battle back in this game. They played really, really uninspiring basketball to start this game. So many turnovers, so many second chance points. Just felt like they rolled out the red carpet for Philadelphia to jump them early in this game. Miami did get to the free throw line a bunch, and Bam had a very, very strong effort, especially for the first 3 quarters of this game. But it almost I don't know what was said at halftime by Erik Spoelstra. He was none too pleased after the game. You guys know after road games, I don't typically listen to the press conferences, but I was watching the Cats game. Thankfully, can we just the one? If no one's got me, Sergei Bobrovsky's got me, dude. I mean, all this trade rumors aside, all that nonsense that just makes me want to throw my head through a window. Sergei Bobrovsky, what a guy, what a guy, the best. But so as that was going on, I had Spo on my phone. I was listening to his president. He was pissed. He was pissed about the effort. He was pissed because nobody was diving on the floor. And that was the thing that was just noticed. It was like, it just felt like Miami was just staring. Because it wasn't one of these games where I felt like, Philadelphia was out physicaling Miami. It's going to be an interesting matchup every time you take on Joel Embiid, and you got to go through the ordeal about him flopping on the floor and dealing with his injuries. Is he really tired? Is he really hurt? Probably a little, but maybe not as much as he's showing. But I just felt like all the other guys, I felt like all the wings, the guards were just like staring at the basketball and all these misses. And you looked at like the second chance points, the fast break points, these opportunities that you just had for Philadelphia to just go off and run with this lead. And it was very frustrating. They were up 16 at the first half, at the end of the first half. And yeah, they got good games from their stars. I mean, freaking Tyrese Maxey came out, hit 5 3-pointers in the first quarter of this game. He had 20 points. And then the second quarter really was dominated by Edgecombe. I mean, Edgecombe, what a marvel this kid is, man. I mean, he is physical, but he could do a little bit of everything. He's athletic, very impressive. I mean, I don't know how the Sixers can look at themselves in the mirror for tanking for him. I mean, it's unbelievable. What a what a tough thing it must be to live with, It really must be for them. And then Embiid was rock solid in the first half of this game. He didn't do really anything in the second half until hitting the final dagger for Miami. And that was the other thing that makes this hurt a little bit more. It felt Miami had they pulled out the old Uno reverse card, a little bit different than what they typically do, as my dog and my cat are chasing each other. Don't you guys get tired of that? I could be saying that to the Heat. Like, hey, don't you guys get tired of losing all the time? But yeah, the effort was much better in the second half of this game. It was much better. It was much more watchable. And they got a big third quarter from Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro. Tyler had gotten off to a rough start to this game. A couple of things I should mention of note. Norman Powell did not come back in this game after starting it. He was questionable all game with a groin injury. I want to say something on Norm. I really do appreciate that he is playing through a lot, and that is one of the things that he's made known. Like, he wants to play through things. Not following Norm day in and out. I don't know if this is something he typically likes to do. I know Norm has dealt with injuries in the past for sure, but there's also a point where you got to wonder if it's having like negative repercussions, and that's what it felt like today. I felt like Norman Powell had nothing that he was bringing to the Heat in the first half of this game, and while it's admirable that you don't want to come out and maybe you don't want to lose being this, you being the one for this team, you can't be out there if you can't contribute. And it just felt like he was giving them nothing today. It really was. Like he really he didn't have his finest effort out there. It was very noticeable for Miami. He had a tough night. Davion Mitchell didn't do much for Miami either. So you didn't get a lot of punch from your starting backcourt today for the Miami Heat. And really in the early goings of this game, it was pretty much Bam and Jaime Jaquez Jr. And then Tyler started to get cooking. Tyler had a really frazzled start to the third quarter, and then he hit this three, and that kind of just like sunk that like locked Tyler in. Like he hit this 1-3, and then all of a sudden he was rearing and ready to go. And him and Bam really had a great effort to get things going. Then they go to the bench. There was, some crazy back and forth. Pelle Larsson got hit in the face, of course, again. And then I think it was Tyrese Maxey had a pair of steals. One of them led to a Bona basket, and they extended their lead back to 7 by the end of it. But fourth quarter comes out, and, you get a steal and score from Jaime Jaquez. Wiggins had a 3-ball to tie it at 91. Then you had a nice little run again by Philadelphia. They just always felt like they had like a counterpunch to keep Miami away. And then there were just these frustrating moments, like, Embiid would miss a pass. Kasparas Jonas like had the ball, throws it right to Philadelphia, and just like, there were just so many of those moments. There was one where they win a jump ball, it goes off Khalil Ware's hands, and it stays with Philadelphia, and you're just like, you're just not. There was just not taking the effort was better in the second half for sure, but it was also frustrating just because it felt like there was a lot of meat left on the bone for Miami. But they did hang around, and then there was a 3-ball by Pelle Larsson, who has not been hitting a lot of those lately, to bring him to within 3. They then got a couple of free throws by Wiggins, because Pelle had some really nice defense on Maxey. Khalil gets the rebound, leads to Wiggins trying the alley-oop. I don't remember if it was from Kaz or Jaime, I can't remember. But Wiggins goes to the line. He makes both of them. Huge. And then the Sixers, I think they got I forget who, I think it was Maxey who scored. Yeah, it was Maxey who scored after Khalil couldn't hit a hook shot over Bona. And Bona comes down and like pulls over Pelle Larsson. Spo's losing his mind. He's like, dude, what are we doing? Is this the NFL Combine? Like, this dude is absolutely obliterating Pelle. And they just let Maxey just go and do his thing right there. So it was rough. That was a rough one. Spo was upset, but Wiggins would play some nice defense on VJ Edgecombe. Tyler Herro would hit a 3, put Miami up 117, 116 with a couple of minutes left. But that would be all that Miami would score. That would be the last score of the game for Miami, because Maxey would go to the line. Kelly Oubre hits a 3. Then Maxey hit a runner that was waved off by basket interference. Tyler Herro missed a 3-ball, bit of a heave, and Joel Embiid hit the dagger. So that was frustrating. Another couple of minutes and another elongated stretch where Miami just couldn't even score a basket. And I don't know what happened with Bam. Bam, really, like, I don't want to bust on him too much, because they don't even have a shot in this game if it's not for Adebayo. That's for sure. But he goes from 29 points, 14 rebounds, and that's where the stat line ended. He didn't have a point or a rebound in the fourth quarter. And in a game like this, you obviously need as much punch as you can get. But weren't able to get it done, and Philadelphia gets the win. So right now in the standings, as we're recording this, a little before 10 p.m. on Thursday night, Miami still in play-in-ville, but they are now a game and a half back of the Orlando Magic, who I think are playing as we speak right now. They're losing. Orlando's about to lose, so they'll stick a game behind Orlando. But remember, Orlando has the tiebreaker. So Orlando will, I'd imagine they're not going to win that game. But, crazy things happen. For today, let's just say that they lose. But Miami's still behind Orlando. The gap gets further between them and Philadelphia. They have one more matchup, I think, coming up this year. And then Charlotte won tonight. So Charlotte is breathing down Miami's neck. I think they have a matchup next week, I want to say. I think they play he got the Rockets coming up. They got 2 with the Nets. Bro. What's the point of it? You know what? I'm not even going to put edicts out here for this team. What's the point? And then they got, I believe they're in Charlotte next Friday. But they're going to be home a lot. Just right out, they're going to be home a lot in March. So we'll see if that's any kind of benefit for Miami. But these were two frustrating losses. This was less frustrating because, look, Philadelphia has some very, very talented players. I think if you were to say, like, who are the 3 most talented players, like, you could make arguments for Bam and Tyler, but they were outplayed tonight at certain points. Bam, through 3 quarters, was one of the best players on the floor. And look, they made Maxey work for it. He had, I think, 28 on, was it 28? Yeah, 28 on 26 shots tonight. I think it was 9 of 26. So, he got it up today. He got up a lot of shots. Edgecombe looked very impressive. But those 3 guys, this one's not as embarrassing as losing to a Giannis-less Milwaukee team, even though Milwaukee is playing better lately. You went half a quarter without scoring. This one, you only went 2 minutes, and you admire the gumption to get back into this game for sure. But the idea that, like, Spo keeps talking about, like, this is a privilege, and I'm just like, you guys don't really act like it's a privilege. You kind of just act. You can say and you can will it all, and that's why it's like sometimes it's tough because, like, as I was saying this weekend, like, yeah, he can sound like a prophet or a madman, and right now he sounds like a madman who is sitting here being like, well, this is a privilege. That's like, all right, you guys aren't treating it very much like a privilege. You don't. I mean, you don't come out with that effort in the first half and then go and tell the fan base afterwards that your team treats this like it's a privilege. They don't. I mean, this almost feels more like their birthright, just meandering in the play-in all the time. The privilege would be play your way out of the play-in, but you just haven't been able to capture that. And while like today was a good game overall. Like, I thought that it was a good back and forth. Philadelphia executed better. Their stars showed up there in the last quarter of it, and that's also become a theme that's annoying. Like, look, as great as Adebayo's game was, and as great as Tyler was, they were both really, really good. They're, Maxey, Embiid, they outdueled them, and they got the plays at the end when Miami couldn't. That is pretty much the difference in the game. You got it there, you brought it all the way back, but not enough to get it over. And those shortcomings in clutch, Bam hasn't been good at it all season. Tyler's obviously just coming back; he's working his way into it. But as Spo had said, like, yeah, there's going to be these clutch games. They got to be able to come through. Wes Goldberg from Locked On Heat, he pointed out the Heat haven't beaten a team with a winning record in over a month. I just briefly looked. I'm assuming that's the OKC win that they had last month. I think that's probably the last time they did it. Yeah, they beat. Let's see. They won in Phoenix. They swept Phoenix. So I'm guessing that's what he means. Phoenix on the road was the last winning record team that they beat. But yeah, they've lost in their big, and the Heat have had a schedule with a lot of losers, and they got, since that win over Phoenix, they lost a huge game to Orlando. They got beat by Boston, and they lost tonight to Philadelphia. They got some, and then they have the other stinkers that are in there, like losing to the Hawks, the Bulls, the Jazz, So yeah, what are you gonna do, dude? This is it's all too familiar. Miami's going to have a national TV game coming up on Saturday afternoon against the Rockets, who did they just finish off the Magic? Let's see. I think they got 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left, 111, 105. The Magic are trailing. But the Rockets right now are about to win their third straight 4-5. So they're trying to get things right. It'd be nice to get that win, but certainly concerning on Norman Powell's health as well. And Davion, I should also mention, listen, Davion has also been on the injury report with his illness. I don't know how well he's doing, because I think he's been on that injury report with this illness for a while. So I don't know how much that's affecting him either. So you also have a team that has their top scorers hurt. Their starting point guard appears like he's dealing with a sickness. Tyler's coming back from broken ribs. And Adebayo kind of felt like he was toasted by the end of the end of the third quarter, or just kind of got lost in it. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen Bam have one of these where he has like a monster first three quarters and then just like kind of gets lost in the fold. But this is what it is right now for them. They have good moments. They can shine a little bit, but the execution when it really matters has really been lacking for Miami. But it's a privilege. Everybody remember that. It's a privilege for us to watch this. Remember that. It's not only a privilege for them, it's a privilege for us to tune in every single. I think that's who he should really say. Really, it's a privilege. It's a privilege that anybody. That's what Erik Spoelstra should really go out there and tell the reporters. Is like it's actually a privilege that we have anybody tuning into this stuff, because I can't believe you guys are still tuning in to check us out and yak all over ourselves again. That's truly the privilege. They should really tip their cap to Heat Nation. Whoever's left tuning into this, who's not wanting to bang their head against the wall. That's the truth of it. Unbelievably frustrating. I should say unbelievably frustrating. It's very believably frustrating. Like it's the wrong term. It's very believably frustrating because this is just their pattern. So, oh well.